So there will always be mountains. There'll always be a challenge after one challenge after another. But you don't give up. You know, you don't give up. Because what things that you wanted to achieve, but the process was not as easy. You know, it's like a simple thing, like a family. Two people get married, they want to start a family, but they can't have kids. To some people, it's a very simple thing, but for some people, it's not that simple. It's a challenge. So in life, you'll always have these type of challenges where after you conquer one mountain, there's another one to climb. I think there's a quote by Nelson Mandela to that effect. And then the other thing that comes with that is that God says in the book of Deuteronomy 28:12 that He blesses the work of our hands. So idle hands, like an idle mind, they don't achieve anything. So for you to actually be blessed or build something, you actually have to work for it. You have to put your hands to something. So by the fact that you plunged yourself into Bison, by the fact that you decided to take the challenge and say, look, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna register, I'm gonna get my WhatsApp, I'm gonna get my data, I'm gonna hustle for this data so I can be plugged in, so I can be part of this program, I can be part of this mentorship and ultimately get to where I need to be. That is you using the work of your hands. You're using your hands to achieve something, and you get blessed for it. Because as much as we can claim that you can go to school, you can study, you can whatever, but that degree, as hard as it was to get it, it's only going to take you so far. It will get you into the interview room, but for you to get that job, that takes you. That takes your commitment, that takes your dedication, that takes your honesty, that takes your integrity. So I'm going to read that scripture real quickly so that you guys can really understand it. I know some of you, or most of you, haven't been to church in a while. So the scripture says, I'm reading from the New King James Version. The Lord will open His good treasure, the heavens, to give you the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You shall lend to many nations, but shall not borrow. So what does that mean? It means that as you keep working, okay, so if you keep working, sometimes it may seem that you are working in vain. You know, like you keep planting a seed and nothing is growing. It's like you're planting in vain. Like I did this last year, it didn't work out. I did this project with my friends, it didn't work out. I did that. And you feel like you are planting in vain. But the scripture tells us that you must be consistent. You must keep at it. Because in your season, so you know everything is seasonal. We've got fruits and veggies that are in season, they come seasonally. So you're not going to find watermelons in winter, for instance, because it's not their season. But then what does the farmer do? He's still planting the seed, he's preparing the seed, he's preparing the soil. For when the time of the season for watermelons to come, he plants and he reaps. So it's the same with what the scripture is telling us. That as you keep doing the right things, as you keep being faithful, and you keep going out there, you keep knocking on those doors, a lot of those are going to shut in your face. That's a fact. Sales is a horrible job. I don't want it. It's Deuteronomy 28 verse 12.
Thank you.
So, you know, a lot of doors are going to shut in your face. People, I saw one of your posts, I think it was one of the dealers here, who said, this is our product, it's our machines, it's not fakes, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you also have to overcome those perceptions as well, like why is it so cheap? Why is the service so reasonable? Where are you guys getting these things, you know? So there'll always be, and you'll always be judged as well by how you look. That's another thing, you know, the prejudices that come with how you look. You know, certain corporations, you try to get in there, knock on the door, and they just look at you, they're like, no, you know? They're not even interested to hear what you even have to say. But it's that thing that if this door closes, go to the next one. And eventually, you never know, going further and further, you might get so high up that the CEO of the previous company that closed the door to you might even call you and say, I'm interested in your service. So that's what the scripture is actually telling us, that in its season. So do not lose heart, do not give up, do not think that, you know, I'm working in vain, so many doors are closing. And also don't compare yourself with your peers. Because you know what, some people can be more successful than others and start ahead. And that's such is life. There's nothing you can do about it. Not that that person is doing anything wrong or they did anything right. It's just how it is. Favor falls on whoever it falls on. Such is life. But you need to stay consistent. You need to be faithful and stay and wait for your season. Because it will come. Because it clearly says here that in its season, the rain will fall onto the net. You know? And when you get to the part that says you shall lend to many nations but shall not borrow, that's actually speaking to debt. So in business it's very easy to get into debt, especially if you're not aligned. Your vision and your understanding of how financials work are not aligned, you know. So it's very important that you constantly touch base with your supervisors or your area managers or whoever it is that is there to support you, the support system, and actually make sure that, look, there's this project that's coming up, this is what they want, this is how much can we do it, instead of just going there and saying, yes, we're going to do this thing, then you end up financing the thing out of your pocket. And at the end of the day, it hits on your bottom line and there's no profits for you. And then if you've got people that are working for you, now you have to go tell those people there's no bonuses. But those people are like, but we worked hard, we delivered, we serviced the machines, how are we not getting bonuses? So it's also very important that debt is actually a curse if you think about it. Because it limits you in so many ways. You know, you can look at your balance sheet, you can look at, I had a revenue of 1 million, but at the end of the day, what did you take out? You can't even say what you did, you know? So your liabilities become more than what your asset is. So it's very important that you learn to have that mindset as well, to manage your expenses and to manage your time. Time is also your how can I put this? It's a value. So your time is your business. I think with you guys specifically, time is your business. That's how you measure the income that you get. You know, if you're charging an hourly rate to go out and service a machine, already you've quantified your time. So if you're sitting and you're being idle, the 2 hours that you are sitting on social media, reading gossip, that is time that you can say, shucks, in those 2 hours that I spent on this thing, reading junk, basically I could have made this much, you know? And that will also propel you to actually work harder and push harder. And I think the important thing about a vision and building something is that it should not always be a short-term thing that you have for yourself. You must expand your vision, you know? The Bible says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So that means a legacy. And I was doing this research to come and speak to you guys about this because I just got this word to speak about vision. But then the word legacy also came into mind. And when you think about a legacy and we look around us, the many businesses that are around us, these businesses you find out, this was founded 100 years ago, this was founded 50 years ago. That is a legacy because the person that founded that business is no longer around. But the business is continuing. His children and his children's children, his grandchildren, they're benefiting from the vision that he had. And that person did not necessarily realize the fruits of his labor. So sometimes you could be laboring here, and it's not necessarily that you're going to be the one that goes to Bonga and spends like 100,000 rand on alcohol. But maybe your great-grandchildren will be the ones that will do that. Do you understand? So never ever treat your business as a hand-to-mouth exercise. You must always think further, have a vision, and build something for your children's children. So when I was thinking about this, about legacies, and you know, and basically you have to be intentional. So you don't just wake up in the morning and decide, oh, I'm gonna build a legacy, but you're not working towards anything. You have no structure, you have no connections, because as soon as you want something, there's already resources that have been placed. You just need to plug into them. Do you understand? So that's exactly how it is. So I looked at the life of the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, the best tennis players in the world. They've won how many Grand Slams? But then if you go back and look at their story, I think there's a film out now called King Richard about their father and how he trained them. That was intentional. The man quit his job, you know? A black man in America basically told his wife that I'm gonna quit my job and train my girls to play tennis and you're gonna have to go to work. How many women would have said yes to that? Yeah. But you see, but because he had a vision and his family plugged into that vision and they supported that vision. Today, he's celebrated because why? His daughters, they are world renowned, and that is a legacy. The name Serena and Venus Williams is known across the world and for generations to come. Do you get what I mean? So that's the type of thinking that we need to plug into. And the other thing that came to mind for me was the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical group. You guys know about that group.
Yeah.
So this group was founded in, I think, 1885 or 69, something like that. But this is something that someone founded. This guy went to school. He became a pharmacist, went and worked for a company for his training, and then from there decided I'm gonna start my own thing. And if you read the story, I was so amazed when I read it that actually this company went through World War I, World War II. And during all those processes, they even went through pandemics. Like we've got the COVID now, they went through similar pandemics. And you would think that a business would die, like many have died. But this business kept going. Even through World War II, they were paying their people wages, like salaries were being paid. In fact, they even gave increases during that period. And it is also reported that some of their employees were even drafted into the war to go and be soldiers and fight. And they ensured that when they came back from war, they were guaranteed that their jobs would still be there waiting for them. So such is how you build a legacy. You find opportunities. You need to develop. We're moving into an age of technology. They call it the fourth industrial revolution. So South Africa is not necessarily ready for it, but that does not mean that we have to sit and fold our arms. You can continue on that. You start it now. And you start it now, your children and their children, they will run with the vision. You make it plain, you write it there. That's why when you start a company, it's very important. They ask people, what's your vision, what's your mission? That is very important because everyone that comes in to work for you or to partner with you, they read what's on that wall and they plug into it so they know what the plan is. So if something happens to you today and you're not around tomorrow, is the business going to die with you? Because that in black communities, it's a case of that. Like someone dies and then everything just falls apart and they're like, how many those are okay? This person took their things with them. And it's not true. The fact is that person did not make their vision a reality. They did not groom their family to plug into this vision. So even with you, as much as you are in the business, you are working by yourself, you've got your partners, you've got your support system, get your family involved. Let them plug into this vision. Because their support ultimately is also what's going to determine your success. Because it's not going to help you go into go service a machine and you're stressed about situations at home that are keeping you in a dark place and causing you depression. You're not going to perform optimally at your job. And that will affect your customer base. Because as soon as someone says, oh, the printer is broken, and I call him Mbali, is like, no, don't call her. Can you find somebody else? It's that type of thing. So it's also very important that your family must also buy into your vision. So we are building a whole collective community here. It's not just for one person's benefit. And I actually had to go up and read up on the legacies that we ourselves have here in South Africa of the people and whose names that we know. And Nelson Mandela is one such person. You say the name Nelson Mandela anywhere in the world. Actually, you don't even have to say the word Nelson Mandela. All you have to say is, I'm from South Africa. And immediately the person will say, oh, South Africa, Nelson Mandela. So that's a legacy. Nelson Mandela's legacy lives on. A Mandela child will go anywhere in the world and they'll be recognized because of their grandfather or their ancestor Mandela. That is a legacy. So a legacy is not always by starting a business, or you can be a social justice agent like he was. He fought for a cause. And a cause that he said in his Rivonia trial, that this is an ideal that he's willing to die for. So whatever vision that you are doing, are you willing to die for your vision? Are you willing to let the vision go just because something did not go right, or just because a door closed on you that you were banking on, or the tender that you wanted didn't come through because it was improperly given to somebody else? No, you don't. You keep going. This is a sacrifice that it will take blood, sweat, and tears, literally sometimes. And this is where you need to push yourself. It's in the dark days that you actually find your strength. It's not always in the happy days, because in the happy days, most of us relax. Once you've gotten what you think that you've worked hard for and you've achieved, and you can go on any vacation that you want, then you start to relax. But it's in the dark places where actually your strength gets optimized. That's where you build in muscle. The people that go to gym and they're pumping up that iron and they're saying building muscle. So it's that type of thing and thinking that you constantly need to be aware of in your mind as a person. And don't even look down on yourself. Say, oh, but I'm young, I just did this, I heard he was in matric last year, but look at him today. So it's that type of thing. Never let your age be a determining factor, whether you are young or old. A vision is not based on how old you are. It's based on how hard you're willing to work into achieving it. So it's very important. And then the second person that I came up to was Shaka Zulu. So Shaka Zulu as well. You go anywhere in the world and you say you're from South Africa, Shaka Zulu. I think in America there's even a pizza that's named after him. Yeah. A gigantic pizza. So that should tell you how much, what they think of Shaka, And this was a man who basically strategized weapons of war and strategies on how to defeat his enemies. This is how he built his legacy. So that's another thing. That was not a tangible business that he did. But it was a strategy to build a nation and to protect his people, first of all. That was his main objective. But it kept growing and growing, and he eventually had this big nation. Like even today in South Africa, wherever you go, the Zulu people are recognized. And then the third one that I came up to was, for the soccer lovers, Orlando Pirates. If you look at the legacy of Orlando Pirates, this was, and Kaizer Chiefs, but the Kaizer Chiefs, But you see, Kaiser Chiefs was actually born out of Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
So can you imagine? So it takes also your obedience to actually birth somebody else's vision. Because Kism don't pay for Pirates. Pirates was founded in 1939, I think. 37. See? So from there.
He knows his soccer.
Yeah, so you see, so Kism don't take, and